Hello everyone, welcome back to Discovering Dawson's Creek here on It's a Wonderful Podcast. It would seem that Audrey is becoming the real star of the show at the moment, in my estimation, at least, because everybody else seems to be doing the odd little strange thing here and there. There's some emotional moments, it has to be said, in the 2 episodes we're talking about today, which is very nice to see. You know, it's always nice when these emotional moments can feel wholesome and not just sad and miserable and, you know, very, very unfortunate like they have done in the early part of season 5, Jeannine, definitely. But there's also a lot of, I would call it, uncharacteristic behaviour going on in today's episodes as well, and I'm not so sure quite where I lie on this. I really don't like, and now just because it's Dawson's Creek, the college years, doesn't mean we've moved away from the not allowing anybody to sit in any given relationship for any length of time with some sort of pleasantness, does it, Jeannine? No, because immediately we are on to issues between Dawson and Jen for absolutely no reason at all, other than we've got to put a bit of conflict in there. No, you don't, Dawson's Creek. I've been telling you now for 4.5 seasons.
Well, I will say I like how they did it here, because I didn't remember that it went the way it went. So once we were getting into it and there were, like, you know, building up this conflict, I was like, wait, do they resolve this, like, in a way that feels, you know, or is it laying the groundwork for, like, worse things ahead? Like, I couldn't quite remember. And so the fact that they address it in a way that speaks to Jen's history and, you know, it's more kind of a defense mechanism than actual issues, I liked. I like that it was a character thing as opposed to a, you know, teen drama
writing thing.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I'm being a little bit exaggerational for humorous effect at the beginning of today's episode, because I do like how it is or ends up getting resolved in this. Speaks to an awful lot of maturity, I think, on both Dawson and Jen's parts. And this is now obviously a totally changed Dawson, a totally mature Dawson. And it's wild to see, you know, if I went back and watched season 2 Dawson now, it just wouldn't feel remotely like the same person.
Yeah.
But it's maturity on Jen's part as well.
Mhm.
They were bringing it up, weren't they? They were bringing up the idea of conflict, and I was sat there going, oh, for God's sake, I mean, can we not just have a bit of happiness? Why does it always show the weeks or months of contentment off screen, you know, and then we just tune back into Dawson's Creek just for the chaos, don't we? And it's okay. We like chaos every now and again. But sometimes, in order for the chaos to be effective, in order for the chaos to mean something, to make us feel like it actually is chaotic, we need to have a bit of boredom as well. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of sitting down and meandering about for a bit. You've got 22 episodes, 23 episodes. You can afford to do it. You've done it occasionally, but in the relationship storylines, it hardly ever does it. And it's a little bit of a bugbear, a constant bugbear. And I feel like it always will be a constant bugbear of mine when it comes to Dawson's Creek. But
at its roots, it's a teen drama, so that's gonna be, you know, always part of the
I do wonder if this
structure.
if this is what teens like, though. Like, if this kind of thing, not specifically Dawson's Creek, I mean, is the modern day teenager going back and watching Dawson's Creek? Maybe it would be nice if they did. but
Yeah.
maybe they're not.
This
But
level of drama is entertaining to
yeah,
them. Yeah. I don't
like
know.
constantly though, like they always need something else chaotic going
Yeah,
on. I
to
suppose
go
it
wrong.
speaks to
Yeah.
the
I
the
mean, we
the
have that in shows.
infestation of needing the next fix, as in,
Well,
short
yeah.
form content, even all this kind of stuff. You just need the immediate next big thing to be in your face, and something needs to happen now, 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 now. And it's a thing that not just the younger generations, but I sometimes struggle with that. I'm sure you sometimes struggle with a kind of
Yeah.
short form content level of addiction that
Yes.
seems to fester in people
Yeah.
these days.
Yes, but I mean, we have things like The Summer I Turned Pretty and Off Campus, and these are like, teen,
Oh,
college,
yes.
early 20s style dramas that do really delve into the jumping back and forth in relationships and messy character dynamics and things like
Yeah.
that, and messy relationship stuff and fabricated breakups and, all of that kind of thing. So it's
Well,
still, I think it's still kind of what the people want, but
yeah,
um, and it's always just going to be a part of that teen drama formula. So,
I do suppose, I always seem to bring up every now and again Netflix's Never Have I Ever, which is
mhm,
is one of my
yeah.
favorite shows Netflix have ever done. And that's very much that, isn't it? That's very much
Yeah,
just constant chaos for no good reason.
yeah.
But I don't know. There's something I really did like about that. And there's obviously a lot of things I really do like about Dawson's Creek. I just, when we're this long in to the long watch that it has been,
Yeah.
I feel like I just live with these characters now. So I get even more annoyed than if I was binging it.
I know. Well, now I'm kind of like, once we are done with Dawson's, because we are officially halfway through season 5 with 1 season left to go.
Yeah,
Do
there's
we
not
delve
much long.
into Yeah, do we delve into one of these modern teen dramas like The Summer I Turned Pretty or Off Campus or something like
Mm.
that? So,
I mean, that's a
yeah.
question I think for the audience. That's a question for
Yes.
you to
Yeah.
to let us know what you may think about that. What show you may want to see after we finish discovering
Mm.
Dawson's Creek. Obviously, we've still got quite a long time to go
Yes.
left
Mhm.
yet, but it will eventually end.
Mhm.
What do we do? Something of similar ilk, or something radically different that Jeannine may also have a fondness for? It's a
Yeah.
good thing to think about.
Mhm. Yeah,
Get the binder
definitely.
out then, Jeannine. Let's get into these episodes. I think today we have episodes 11 and 12 of Dawson's Creek season 5.
Yes.
Something Wild and Sleeping Arrangements, which is a boring title for something a little
Yeah,
bit
right?
provocative.
Yes. So, these have some pretty lengthy synopses here.
Oh, well, that's good. I mean, it makes a nice change from diving into Doctor Who, which give you 2
A
sentences
little
if you're
blurb.
lucky.
Yes. All right. Something Wild, episode 11, aired January 16th, 2002. Joey and Audrey go to a nightclub to celebrate both Joey's grades and fall break. There, Audrey tries to convince Joey to have some real fun. Charlie is also there and he hits on Joey, who turns him down for what he did to Jen. But Charlie doesn't
Yes.
give up so easily and dares Joey to do something wild. Something wild. She accepts the dare and goes on the stage to sing with the band. Excited about it, she kisses Charlie. Meanwhile, Pacey sees himself hanging out with Audrey after he joins the ladies at the club to celebrate his new promotion. And Dawson and Jen go back to Cape Side, where they have their first fight over what Dawson will do with his life. At the end, he decides to move to into Grams's attic in Boston, and move on with his life.
Good Lord, I know you said it was a long synopsis. I was not expecting a novella.
Yeah, and Sleeping Arrangements is just as long, so
I mean, that's just told us the entire plot. No more discovering Dawson's Creek for today.
yes, we're done.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's closed it all out.
pretty much.
Um, yeah, it's a funny one with Joey. This to me. I mean, I get her wanting to celebrate. Obviously, she's very excited, good, straight
Mhm.
A grades. You know, the last one she's waiting for is the
Professor
famous
Wilder.
Professor Wilder's English course, or whatever exact version of an English course it is. I've not quite
Yeah.
been paying enough attention to determine exactly what Joey's studying at college. But that's the last one to come up. Oh, that gets an A as well, because of course she does.
Of course it does.
Who was to expect anything different? I mean, we could have had a little bit of an interesting storyline of Joey maybe not getting the perfect grade she's kind of
Yeah.
always got throughout the high school life, and having to come to terms with not being the smartest one in the room, school wise, education wise, for
Yeah.
once, because I think that's something that an awful lot of people do go through. Maybe they were very,
Mhm.
very, um, you know,
You know,
really, really
successful
good
in high
student, really
school.
successful
Yeah,
in high school, really successful in younger education, but you go
and just
into
can't translate it.
college, you go into
Yeah.
university or further education, whatever you may do, and you come up against, or you come in a group of
Mhm.
all these other people who were the exact same version of you in their respective schools.
Yeah.
And it seems like the show is it loves Joey, because it's not even doing that to her. It's literally just saying,
No.
yeah, she's the best here too. Which is fair enough, because she does put a hell of a lot of effort in. And yes, okay, she
Yes.
does deserve the celebration. I'm happy she's having the celebration. I don't care for her trying this. I mean, I don't care for Charlie trying it off with her to begin with, but I
Yeah.
certainly don't care for her actually relenting to it in the end, and giving him a little unnecessary kiss time, because we don't need that. No more of Charlie, please. I thought we'd brushed Charlie to the side
Well,
when he
and
started to want threesomes with Jen and the other girl who I forgot the name of.
yes, and it seems like he's not going anywhere for a little bit because the next episode after these 2, like, there's a picture of him with Audrey, and it's called something Wilder, so
No,
it's gonna be
Audrey, don't do this to me.
right? So I'm, like, trying to remember where are we going with this Charlie thing before he gets on One Tree Hill. Um,
Ah.
but yeah. Um, so yeah, they're not leaning towards, like, Joey struggling in college, which is kind of maybe what they were playing to until she got the grades. What they're
Yeah.
playing to with Joey is her being so kind of rigid and regimented that she's not allowing herself to have the college experience. So that's the thing that we're gonna explore
Yeah.
with Joey, and that's the
I mean,
thing
I
that we
did
kind of
think
blow wide open in this episode, so
I mean, we definitely do. I did think we touched on this already in this season, because Audrey obviously is her roommate,
yeah,
and Audrey is the total opposite of Joey
yeah,
in that
yeah,
sense. Audrey's the one going, Joey, just come out, just come and have some fun. Yeah, let's go
yeah, mhm,
party. Let's go. Boys,
yeah.
boys, boys. I'm Audrey, which is why Audrey's great.
Boys,
Um,
boys, boys, I'm
but I suppose
Audrey.
it's nice. It's nice
Yeah,
to see a a sort of result come for
mhm,
Joey in this
yeah,
sense, an actual change of perspective come, and the acknowledgement that she's allowed to celebrate herself as well, I suppose, is
mhm.
good. The only thing I just don't care for it being Charlie, and I really don't care for the song she decides to sing with the band
Yeah,
either. I mean, it's not karaoke, it's not officially karaoke, but what a
no,
dreadful karaoke song it would be. You
yeah.
can't sing that song as karaoke. I don't even know the
Yes,
name of the song for some reason. I don't know the title of the song, but we all know the song. Um,
yeah, I mean, my brain is forever fixated on the Letters to Cleo version from 10 Things I Hate About You, so hearing it in any other voice 'cause
I
that even is a
see.
and I think that is even a cover of an original song, so, um, I don't know if it's like I Want You to Want Me is the name of the song, but,
Is it I want? Oh, it is. It's I want you to want
yeah.
me. It is. You're
Yeah.
right.
So I think even the Letters to Cleo version that was in 10 Things I Hate About You, you know, they is in the finale and they're singing it on the rooftop of this
Yes.
insane school where the movie is set. Um, I can't unhear that version of it. So hearing it in her voice, it just doesn't quite sound
No.
right. But I get
No, it
the
doesn't.
essence of it. It's meant to kind of invoke this like, you know, rowdy kind of spirit. So in the spirit of things, I think that works. And then I
But
think they
does
try to
dear
balance
sweet
out.
does dear sweet Joey Potter putting her hair behind her ears the entire time and being very shy and very reserved, is there any rowdiness there? I mean, where does it all come from, Joey? Where has this
I
all been
mean,
hiding?
I think, and it was a bit of a challenge from Charlie, like really kind of reading her as this, bookish, because once she reveals like why she's not receptive to him hitting on her, she makes it known that she is friends with Jen. And
Yes.
since they are at different Boston colleges, he's heard of Joey, but he's never met Joey. So he knows who Joey is from Jen talking about her friend Joey, who's from Worthington and bookish and whatever. So as soon as she mentions something about Jen and his betrayal of her, he's like, "Oh, you're Joey from the smart girl from Worthington." Um, and he challenges her to loosen up and that she is too stiff and things like that. So when he kind of puts that on her, and this guy who is not a good guy is telling her what she is, she kind of
Yeah.
falls into having to kind of, prove him wrong kind of thing. So that's how they frame this. And that's how they even try to frame like her kissing him, is to prove him wrong, because then later like he does try to make it a thing, come with me for a ride on my bike and all of this, and then she ultimately like rejects him and tells him no. So I think the episode feels like, well, we're doing good in not having Joey, you know go all the way with Charlie or endorse
Yeah.
any of Charlie's advances. She's kissing him on her own terms to prove that she is, she can be wild when she wants to be, and that kind of thing. So any kind of manipulation of Charlie is not really a manipulation. She kind of is able to take control of it. So I think they feel like if we frame it that way, our audience can get on board with, these Charlie advances in this Charlie flirtation situation.
Okay. I will
So
relent myself in this situation. I understand that,
yes,
yes.
yes.
I
Mhm.
should mention it's Cheap Trick, who I believe was the
Did the
original
original.
artist of
Yeah.
I Want You to Want Me There. So, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of what Joey's going through, and obviously Audrey's with her, trying to have this is just a regular Tuesday for Audrey, really, isn't
Yeah,
it?
because
This is
even
what Audrey does.
Yeah, because even when they're sitting at the club, like, she's convincing her, like, "Hey, let's make a pact to just at least make out with one guy tonight." And some cute guy, well, I don't know, like, he's supposed to be cute, he has a giant
He,
chin, like, he
yes,
looks like
he's
he's like a
supposed to
he's
be.
like a he's like a cartoon version of a cute guy, like, he has a big head and a big, like, butt, like, chin with, like, this oversized jaw, like, he is, like, a drawing of what, like, a cute guy's supposed to look like.
Yes, he's like if Ben Affleck was 50% uglier.
Yeah, and a cartoon drawing.
And a cartoon draw
Um,
a cartoon yes, a cartoon drawing of Ben Affleck
yeah,
was
it's like a
50%
a
uglier, that's what he was.
caricature. It's like a caricature. He is a caricature drawing of Ben Affleck. Yeah, I think that's where
Yeah, I like that.
Audrey stops him and says, "Hey, make out with my friend." And of course, Joey's like, "Oh, no, 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 I'm not gonna make out with you," kind of thing. So, yeah, Audrey's like full in, let's have a good time. Let's just, no inhibitions kind of thing. But Joey very much proves the rigidness until Charlie like kind of goats her into like, no, you are not, uh, a party girl. You're just some smart girl from Worthington. But once he kind of goads her into it, she's
She
like, "Oh,
can't
you,
lose,
you
can
can't
she?
tell me.
That's why.
You can't tell me what I am. I'm gonna do this on my own terms," kind of thing. So yeah, and we're seeing a lot of Audrey and Pacey kind of developing their own kind of rapport and
An
relationship.
awful lot.
Yes. So we open with Joey like at the B&B. She's home from school, winter break or whatever. Pacey's headed back to campus, back to Boston, so she decides to hitch a ride with him because she's like, desperate about her grades. They haven't come in the mail. She needs to know. So she decides to go back with Pacey. And when they go back, she's like, "Oh, campus will be nice and quiet, and I'll have my room to myself," because Audrey was supposed to be with her parents, but Audrey's there. So then Audrey reveals that she lost her job as the tour guide, and she's gotten to a fight about money with her parents, so she needs a job. So Pacey gets her a job at the restaurant.
Yes, very
And Danny,
quickly, very
yes,
swiftly.
Danny. Yes, I mean, she's already kind of showcasing her Audrey-ness to full effect, and we see Danny kind of listening in and hearing and kind of chuckling to himself about just how kind of silly Audrey is, and so he hires her right off the bat.
Yeah. To the
Um,
shock of Pacey.
yes, he's like, "Seriously?" He's like, "Yeah." So now that they're working together, there's this nice kind of rapport forming between Audrey and Pacey. How do you feel
There
about that
is.
kind of
No, I
energy happening between
like
the
it
2 of them? Okay.
though. I
Yeah,
do
right.
like it. You know, I've liked Audrey since the
Yeah.
first episode of the season. I like this. And I like how it's not necessarily like overly just let's be a bit schmaltzy and romantic
And
all of a
flirty,
sudden.
yeah. Yeah.
It's playful while
Mhm.
feeling like it could go the romantic route if it
Mhm.
wanted to, but it certainly doesn't have to, and we can keep on with this really good, playful, platonic friendship that they seem
Yeah.
to be developing, and certainly, obviously, what Pacey ends up making the decision to do in the next episode,
Yeah.
I think speaks to the well, at least for now, there's not really going to be any romantic situation there with Audrey and Pacey. Whether this will come in the future, who's to say? Maybe I can see it happening. I can,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I like the development of it. I like the building
Y
of it.
Yes, and they do have a really nice kind of real moment as well, like when he drops her off and he has this nice shiny red Mustang, and we're like, "Where did Pacey get this?" You know? Um, we do see a scene as well where Danny, like, puts a lot of faith in him and, like, gives him a big bonus and a promotion and all of this thing,
Yeah,
in this episode as well. So, like, did he buy this car, like, in the time that he got all this money from this promotion and all this kinda thing?
proper Chef Witter now.
Yes. So he's dropping Audrey off and she, is talking he's like, "Hey, can I walk you back to your dorm?" She's like, "Oh, no, I'm safe, you know, there's security's all over. Oh, I wonder if that security guard, he had his baby with his wife yet, da, da, da." And he's like, "Oh, you seem pretty chummy with the guards for only having come back yesterday." And she's like, "Oh, yeah." So he's like, "You didn't never went on break with your family, did you?" And she's like, "No, like we did have a huge fight about money, but it was actually way worse than I let on." So she kind of reveals to him before she's even told Joey. And she's like, "Don't tell
Yeah.
Joey, like, I don't want her to, you know, worry about me, or I don't want her to have kind of a weird opinion of me."
No,
You
Audrey's
know,
mother was terrible. We side with
yeah,
Audrey at every given opportunity.
exactly. So the fact that this is something she doesn't even wanna really tell Joey, but she's telling Pacey, really interesting. And then
Yeah.
we get a really nice nugget about where Pacey got this car. So how do we feel about learning that this car was a gift from John Witter and that he actually told Pacey he was proud of him?
Yes.
And he shares this
Yes.
with Audrey.
Yes, I would have it's it was quite a baffling moment, to be honest with you. Would I have do I believe it? No. Still not, after having sat with it and factually it's there. Do I believe John Witter capable of doing this? No. Therefore, I'm saying to myself, would I have preferred this to actually come from John Witter having a scene again with Pacey and him saying these things? I could have taken that on board and gone, okay, John Witter, we're trying reparations now, are we? This is what we're doing. Because this is what it feels like. Years of torture and tumult and
Yeah,
terribleness have now,
culminated
you know,
into
yes, they've converged into the shape of a shiny Mustang.
yes.
And
Yeah, because he
this is
said
what
this
he's
was a
trying to do.
Mustang. He's like, "This Mustang was sitting in the impound lot for ages, and just one day my father just said, 'Hey, it's yours.'" And then, you know, it was followed up with, "And I'm proud of you." Like, I've something I've never heard from him, and it's just
And
crazy. So,
it is very sweet to hear Pacey say this, and it's a
yeah,
lovely little performance from Joshua Jackson, the
yes.
beam on his face. Although, as you well know, I believe Pacey should be disowning John Witter, and I do not believe John Witter should be getting any sort of
Accolades at
familial
all.
service from Pacey at all. So John Witter can give Pacey all the cars he wants, his father, but
Yes.
Pacey can take them all he wants, but I almost don't like that Pacey still
Has a
allows
relationship
his
with him.
father,
Yeah.
not even that he has a
Being
relationship with him, but he still allows his father to have
affect
an
him.
emotional sway on him,
Mm,
even if it's a positive one, because that still
yeah.
means he has an emotional sway on him, and that
Yeah.
means if it inevitably, as I assume it will, because John Witter's the world's worst person, goes
Yeah.
back to saying something bad, that it's going to make Pacey feel bad, and he has never deserved that, and he certainly doesn't deserve it now. So
So, not even Joshua Jackson's beautiful performance could sway you on liking John Witter.
not on John Witter, no.
Yeah.
On Pacey
Well, I
deserving
like
this fully and being
yes.
happy. Pacey
Right.
being happy, sure. Pacey being pleased to hear his father say that, no. But I just there's no sincerity from John Witter for me.
Okay.
And there may
Well,
have
I
been
love
more sincerity, as I said, if we would have
if
had a
we'd seen the scene
physical
play out.
scene of John
Yes.
Witter.
Okay, okay. But I am really enjoying how protective you are of Pacey, so, I'll
Yes,
take that.
I am. I mean,
So,
maybe I'm half protective of Pacey and half just don't be a terrible parent.
yes, yeah. Fair, very fair. But yeah, an interesting little push forwards of information and a layer to bond him and Audrey in an interesting way and like develop that kind of
Because they
friendship that's
both have
growing.
terrible parents. That's
Yes,
why.
100%. Exactly. So yeah, kind of the final chunk of episode we get, or piece that we haven't really discussed is the, new Dawson Jen relationship and what that looks like. So he takes Jen home to stay with his mom, and because
To meet the parents. Not that she doesn't
even
know
though
who
she
they
has
are.
exactly,
And
but there's just this
unfortunately,
weird.
there's only one of them now.
Yes, and there's this added layer of just weirdness now
Very
because
weird.
yeah, which is just funny because
Gail
it's like
was like,
my son's
what
dating this
happened
woman. Yeah, my son's dating this girl who has lived next door for ages, who I've known, who, we've seen them share, like, really nice moments, like when, Gail was doing that, news story and had all the girls sleep over at her
Yes,
house and all of that kinda thing. Um, so yeah, she knows this girl, but it's just this whole weird new context. And even like they, I guess, would they allude to the fact that they pulled over to the side for a little roadside hookup. And she's like, "What if she knows why we were late?" And he's like, "She's not gonna know." And then Dawson, your
she
tag's on the
does.
side out. Yeah.
Yes,
So just adding to the
she
awkward.
definitely does know. I
Yes.
mean,
And so
there's
that
not much space in a car to be doing all that business anyway, and they're
right in
certainly
that
not
little
getting
Jeep,
dressed
in
in the
his little
car.
Jeep. And Dawson's a tall man. So
Well, he
um
is. James Vanderbeek was quite a tall man. There's
yes.
not much
Yeah.
maneuverability space. I mean, what on earth were they doing? Were they giving people a show? Probably. It's not that kind of TV show. We don't see that.
No, definitely not. Um, but yeah, so we end up seeing kind of a little bit of awkward small talk, and then we end up seeing Dawson really feeling like this man of the house energy. Like, Gail talks about Lily walking, and so Dawson's like, "Well, have you put the
Yeah.
baby gate up on the stairs?" She's like, "I will." And then
Immediately, he's like, protect the sister, protect the sister now.
yes, like, "Mom, you need to get these things done. Like, you need to kind of like this. You need a man around here." Kind of series of
Yes.
things like starts trickling
Little
down.
bit.
So then she gets a phone call about a leak at the restaurant, and Dawson's like, "What?" Like the plumber, he was supposed to have fixed that last week. He's like, "Here, give me the phone," kind of thing, and he handles the business. And it's like, "You need to come over there right now and fix this. You were supposed to have this done last week." He's like, I'll meet you over there in 15 minutes." Yes, you're gonna meet me there in 15 minutes.
What
So
do you think
like,
about this? What do you think about this Dawson taking charge in this way? Because I'm a bit in two minds about it, because I think
yeah,
it's obviously the right kind of mentality for him to
yes,
have, because he wants the best for his family and he is taking responsibility of that,
yeah,
as I suppose traditionally the man of the house, as it were. But
yeah,
is there also this understanding that you feel like he needs to have of your mother's a grown adult, you know, she
yeah.
knows she
She's
needs.
and you've seen that she's getting her bearings and she's figuring it out, like, just kinda give her
She
that breathing room.
she's
Yeah,
moving
I am
past the pain of losing her
yes.
husband now.
Exactly, and I think I agree with you, I'm in 2 minds of it, like, I like Dawson stepping up and wanting to be there for his family and be there for his mom and feels and feeling that need to be this kind of
Yeah,
stand-in for the man of the house kind of situation, because that's a very old world sensibility kind of thing that's trickled down throughout history of father dies, son kind of steps up to
of
be the man of the
course.
house and that kind of thing. And the fact that he is an only child, so it's like it's just them kind of thing. So a lot of things, it makes you kind of, empathize and understand why Dawson would want to, kind of fill this role in this way. But then also it's like you got to kind of let your mom breathe and figure things out on her
Yeah,
own and this life that she's going to live because you are also a grown man who she wants to leave and do things and have a life. So, you know, finding that balance of like, both sides of how we feel about seeing Dawson this way. I think we're in agreement on that.
yeah,
But
and I
this is
like
this
eventually, obviously, him going back to Boston properly and moving into Grams. And Grams is always the place where the wayward
yeah.
go to stay.
Exactly. Yes, and seeing that Gail is the one that gives him that push because,
Yeah,
despite her maybe needing him, she wants him to, like, have his life and do what he wants to do and knows that's what Mitch would have wanted as well. So, Dawson going to go meet this plumber at the restaurant leaves Jen and Gail alone, which is just like, because
mm,
we've already seen kind of this awkward small talk bit of situation. So they're sitting and talking as they're putting up the baby gate, and she's talking about how, um she's, invited him to come live at Graham's, and, Gail's like, "I think that's a good idea, yeah," and she even alludes to, like, "I know this is kind of weird, me dating him," and she's like, "Yeah, that's a bit of an understatement," so,
yeah,
like,
yeah. It
it's a
is.
very
It's
honest
very
it's
weird.
a very honest conversation, and she's like, "Did he tell you that he's looking at this film school in Boston?" And she's like, "No, he didn't mention it." And she's like, "Have you told him he should go?" And she's like, "Well, I didn't wanna really I was worried about pushing him into something he wasn't quite ready for." And she says, "Well, that's how, you have to push Dawson and things like that. Like, you know, he needs that." And Jen, has this concern about it, but, Gail kind of implores her, "No, like, let him know that you think this is something he should do and really bring it up
Yeah.
to him." And so, Jen has a little bit of reservations because that's not really her style, but, if Gail is telling her, like, maybe. So Dawson comes back and she tells him, "Hey," he's like, "How did it go? Was it awkward?" She's like, "Oh yeah, it was a little bit awkward, but we had a nice talk about you and kind of your future and you moving in with Grams and you potentially going back to school." And he's like, yeah, so I've been thinking about it, but, kind of weird that you guys were talking about it." And she's like, "Well, yeah, I mean, I think you should maybe go and do that." And, you know, he's like, "Well, I need to get my mom settled and taken care of." And I'm like, "I think she would want you to go." And he's like, "Well, who are you to know about, a mother-son relationship or, you don't even talk to your mom." And so he kind of throws it in her face that she could possibly not even have a valid opinion on this because she doesn't have a good
Yes.
relationship with her parents. And which is really harsh. And it is
And
not really something that should factor in. Sure, you might have more insight as somebody who maybe has a relationship similar to Dawson's, but I don't think you need it to like give him some advice and and come at it from a perspective of I know you. I know what your mom wants for you. So this is my
yeah.
2 cents. But for him to just throw it on her that, like, you don't know the dynamic of a mother and child, so who are you to tell me?
But
And
it's
so
ultimately because he's still not quite ready to move past
exactly, so he gets
caring
his
for his
little
mother. He's still not quite
he's
at
using that as a
the
crutch.
level
He's using it as
of
an excuse.
he
Yeah,
is, yeah, he's still not quite at the level of carry on contentment about Mitch's death that Gail is. And that's that
yeah,
that was her husband for however many years, minus a
yeah,
little bit of a hiccup there early on in Dawson's
yeah,
Creek.
yeah, yes.
But
He's feeling like a void fill he
he
has to do.
he really is. And it's not necessary anymore. It's a
Yeah,
hindrance now. It's a
yeah,
hindrance to yourself. And to be honest, it's kind of a hindrance to your mother and your baby sister as well.
yeah,
So you need to go and do your own thing now. And he does, obviously. He comes, he does, he has moved into Grands and um we don't quite see him do any form of enrollment in education or anything like that, but he's moved to Boston.
We hear he has a conversation with Grams where she asks him about it. But yeah, ultimately when he is kind of like, throws this framing that Jen can't possibly understand, she's like,
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk to you right now, and kind of walks away from him. So their first kind of actual disagreement.
Yeah.
And so then he talks to his mom sitting on the dock, and she sits and talks to him and tells him, you know, you can go. Like, we are fine. Like, you don't have to sit here and wait for us to get settled or whatever. Like, we will be okay. I want you to do what you want to do in your life. And, Jen is great. So don't, screw that up because of whatever you feel like you have to do here. She really cares about you. So just remember that.
Yeah.
And so, she gives him some good advice. She tells him what she wants for him, which is for him to, have a future and go to school and all these things. So once he hears it from Gail, he's able to really kind of understand a little bit more. And then, he goes to his room because she says, if she doesn't accept your apology, grovel. That always worked for your father. Very cute little kind of,
Yes.
remembering Mitch kind of conversation. So he goes to his room and she's there, like looking out the window in her pajamas. And like the first thing he says is like how beautiful she is. And she's like, you're forgiven. And he's like, what? I had a whole like a speech plan. I had a plan to grovel. And she's like, no, I don't need any of that. So they make peace and he's like, I'm sorry. Like, I shouldn't have insinuated those things. And I know how much you care about me. And I'm going to Boston. I'm going to go to do all that stuff. So yay. Yeah. Yay. Good.
Yay.
Good. So yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's looking hopeful.
Everything might be looking hopeful until Jen decides to become a successful radio DJ.
Yeah.
And then it starts getting a little bit questionable again for some reason, Jeannine, and I'm not quite sure why.
Well, we learn why she says the things she says. And
yes, I know why she says the things she says. I know that, but why is she saying them? Is the point? I understand why Jen, the character, says, but why
do we have
being,
to have her say them? Yes. Yeah.
Why is somebody thinking this way? Is my question. Anyway,
yes.
Episode 12,
yes.
Get As the Binder comes back out.
Sleeping Arrangements, episode 12. Aired January 23rd, 2002. A pretty long synopsis here. Dawson and Jen.
Another short novella.
Yes, so Dawson and Jen realize that living together is not as much fun as they hoped it would be. Between ruined toothbrushes and bathroom overcrowding, they're getting on each other's nerves. Jen faces a new challenge at work after she turns her regular show into an advice show. She mainly gives advice to other girls with problems and makes statements on men that hurt Dawson's feelings. She comes home expecting a fight, but Dawson surprises her by saying he won't fight or lie or cheat on her. Meanwhile, Melanie, Pacey's summer flame, shows up offering Pacey a job working with her uncle's new boat around the Greek islands. After a lot of thinking, Pacey decides not to go since he has developed a successful life in Boston working at the Civilization. Jack moves into the fraternity house and gets his own room, but has some problems staying there after he discovers he was supposed to be rooming with another guy who felt uncomfortable living with a gay guy. And Joey decides to give Elliot Sawyer another chance.
This Elliot Sawyer, I mean, I know you've finished that even lengthier novel.
Yeah, and I think there was more because it just said another. So I'm like, another.
We didn't need more. Listen, we didn't need more.
Like a word was missing, so I don't know if there was more. I just didn't click to open the little box or whatever. But yeah,
my first question, I don't know if you want to begin talking about the episode with this, is why does Elliot Sawyer look like that?
Well, I mean, they do mention that he has this Crispin Glover vibe, and I'm like, yeah, he's like blonde Crispin Glover.
it really is. Like there's a point when I thought it might have actually been Crispin Glover. It was that he looks that much like Crispin Glover. And they also mention he's got this Crispin Glover vibe in a positive way of being attractive, which is a bizarre thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I have Crispin Glover's 90s, 2000s face in my head because I just watched the Charlie's Angels movie for both of them for a podcast. So I have that iteration of 2000s Crispin
I mean,
Glover
I'm
in
just
my
thinking
head.
of him in the remake of Willard. And
Yeah.
why on
Yeah.
earth would you ever
Yeah.
find? I don't get it. I don't get it. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yes,
need to
I'm
be.
just
It doesn't need to
picturing
be
creepy thin
sat on.
man, so yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't need to be sat on for too long on this episode of Discovering Dawson's Creek, but I just think it's a little bit strange.
Yeah, again, I think it's just playing into the, like, we need to show Joey, like, getting out of this rigid state and enjoying the college
But not
experience kind of
this
thing.
man. I mean, she
So,
needs to pick people better than Charlie or this man. I mean, come on. There's other
well,
people.
I mean, I think you are already set up to know that there's no staying power with these things. It's just there to serve the purpose of showing Joey having experiences, right?
I know, I
So,
understand that, but you don't want to come away with disease. Which could have. I'm just saying these things happen. This is a college campus.
well,
This is a
yes, but this
university
is also
campus.
the 2000s, so this was the era of very much
That's
pushing
true.
safe sex.
That's true.
Yes,
If you weren't wearing 4 condoms, you weren't doing it right.
exactly. So,
Mm.
yes, all the teen movies were very much about safe sex. I remember there was actually a movie called Trojan War where, like, this guy spends the whole night trying to find a condom so he could sleep with the girl that he likes. Like, that's the plot of the movie.
Because there's a
So
brand of condoms called right. Yes, I get it. Yeah. Isn't there a
yes, yeah,
brand? Yeah, I've got the
yeah,
joke. I've
yeah.
understood the joke.
Yes, right, a fun little pun in the title. So yeah, this is the
Terrible.
era of safe sex. So Joey would have been fine, but yeah, these men literally just serve the purpose of her like living her college experience. So this was a guy that we met like early on in the season, like he kind of talked to her and they had a little bit of a thing and then she kind of blew him off and then she thought Audrey slept with him because when she returned to her dorm he was walking out of their dorm, so she thought
Yes.
Audrey had slept with him. And this was when like there was this tease of like what's happening with me and Dawson, so she really wasn't opening herself up to like meeting people. But now that that's not a thing, you know, she sees this guy now. He's in her class with Professor Wilder, and Professor Wilder points out that this guy's kind of weirdly lingering to talk to her. But again, she still kind of like blows him off because now she's blowing him off because she thought he slept with Audrey. So she ends up talking to
Yeah.
Audrey about it, brings up this guy. She's like, "Oh no, we never hooked up. Once he found out you were my roommate, he wouldn't stop talking about you, and then I just fell asleep." So she's like, "Oh, okay, well, maybe, now that I'm in this kind of like something wild phase, maybe I just like open myself up to see what happens kind of thing."
I mean,
So
this
she does end up.
happens. This does happen, doesn't it? Sometimes that when
Mhm.
one is 18 and in
Yeah.
university, one decides to go wild for a little bit and
Yeah, and
forget
just see
all.
what that.
You're away from home for the
Yeah,
first time. It
exactly.
took you long enough, Joey. You're supposed to do this in the first month of being at
Exactly.
college, not
Exactly.
in the 4th and 5th month of being at
Yeah, a little
college.
late, but
When
yes.
you've done all your continuation of your high school hard work and study groups and all this business,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get with the program. Get rid of all
Exactly.
that
You're a little
to begin
behind
with, and
stuff.
then focus in.
And
You're just
then
delaying
yeah.
things.
Exactly. So, yeah, she ends up going to his dorm, talking to him, talking about him about the misunderstanding, and asking him if he wants to go for coffee. And so they have a nice little thing. So that was Joey's
You do.
little plot in the
Look, I'm not
episode.
saying it's overly wild. It's certainly not overly wild. But I
No,
do
but I mean for
wonder
Joey.
for Joey, yeah, it kind of is. It's frankly radical as far as Joey's concerned.
Yeah.
I do wonder if it will genuinely derail her university education, though, because I don't know how. Could this be a storyline where it goes
Well,
further than it needs to?
there's also this weird teaser of, and I don't remember where this goes either, of her and Professor Wilder. Obviously, like Audrey brought up him being hot, him having this really kind of
Yes,
specific preference to like talk to Joey and include Joey and
which he
test
does.
Joey,
I mean, look,
and all of this.
it's not gotten creepy at the moment.
No, it's very, he keeps it pretty above board appropriate, but there's this
I'd
interesting
like
kind
it to
of.
stay that way.
Yes, interest in Joey. So, despite Audrey like teasing, "Hey, you need to do something about this. He's super hot." Because even when he posts the grades, like, when she's looking at all her grades, she's waiting for the
Yes.
English, and he's the one he comes and posts them, and when she sees she got an A, she, like, hugs him, and then Audrey's like, "Oh, you have to tell me which of your body parts touched his when you hugged," like,
Yes, there's
this whole
maybe
kind of thing.
Audrey. Look, if Audrey, if you want to go and have it off with Professor Wilder, why don't you go and have it off with Professor Wilder? Because do you know
Yeah.
what? That would be fine. You're not in his class.
Exactly. So, nothing kind of weird has happened with them, but there's always this energy of like him really kind of seeing something in her
Yeah,
and focusing on her
no.
in an interesting way.
I'm
So
concerned now.
the next episode is called Something Wilder. So
Oh, I'm definitely concerned now. What the hell's going on here?
so yes,
Oh dear.
I don't, and I honestly don't remember where this goes,
Yes,
but
you
I
do.
know like,
Yes, you do.
but
You're
I
just
don't.
teasing me. You're playing around with me. I don't like
But
it.
I know that, like, clearly, like, if you think about, okay, halfway through the season, Something Wilder is the title of this next episode that's coming up, and all of kind of what has transpired in their relationship from the beginning of the season, you have to feel like maybe, you know, it's leading to something, whether it be just like he's her favorite professor,
Oh, yes,
or
I'm sure he is her favorite professor. It's how much he's her favorite professor that's the issue. And for
I
God's
mean,
sake, please, if this does actually come to fruition, please let it be from Joey's side and not from Professor Wilder's side. Because if it's from Professor Wilder's side, we've got a prison situation.
exactly, because it's like I can think of myself being not of an age of liking older guys, but like obviously having a crush on all of the men on this show when I was like 16 and they were like 20
Yes,
something. So,
sure.
um
I mean, I
yeah, so
suppose.
I
Well, no, it's just at that point. At that point, I suppose it's not prison. It's just fire him from the job, isn't it?
but then you have to see, like, is there a kind of guideline? Because some schools don't have that. So it's most
I don't
cases
know.
it's
That's bizarre.
discouraged. It's discouraged. If these are consenting adults in this situation, it's a, you know, frowned upon thing and not an explicit like can't happen kind of situation.
I mean, I
So
do seem to recall actually. Was this not a small plot in one of the later seasons of Friends with Ross Geller and one of his students? I feel
yes,
like
the one
oh
whose
yes,
dad
when
was
Bruce
Bruce Willis
Willis was it?
was her
Yes,
dad.
Willis was the
Yes, yes,
father.
exactly.
That's
So yes, a
and it
frowned
was
upon
creepy then as well.
I mean, Candyman, Helen's husband, he had a whole thing with one of
He
his, like,
is,
grad
he is, and
students
he's
or and
weird
this
as well, though.
yes. So, I mean, it's a trope that happens. So, I honestly am saying I don't quite remember what happens with Professor Wilder. I don't remember
It's a
if
good
it's a
job
tease of something.
Joey's an adult now. It's a damn
Yes.
good job Joey's an adult now because we'd
Yes.
be going into some very
Inky
unnecessary
territory. But
situations.
you're forgetting season 1 of Dawson's Creek. Like,
I'm not forgetting season one of Dawson's Creek. I'm actually not forgetting season one of Dawson's Creek. I know exactly what happened in season one of Dawson's Creek. Did I not say at the time prison? I
yes,
think I
yes.
distinctly remember saying at the time, prison, especially given that Pacey was 15 at that point, character wise. And yes, okay, Joshua Jackson looked like an adult
Yeah, and he was like
because he
22 or
was
whatever.
an
Yeah.
adult at that time. You
Yeah.
know, that which made it a little bit more palatable, I suppose, as a storyline. But
Yeah.
it still is prison. Should this come to fruition, we're speculating at this point. I mean, I'm speculating. You're trying to pretend you don't know what's going on, and I don't buy it for a second.
I really
This
don't. I
is
really
no.
don't
I
remember.
suppose this is not a prison situation. This is just a why are you doing that with your
Frowned
student?
upon, like,
Why are you
like
doing
I
that? That's a bit strange. That's a
like
bit
I
weird.
know
Let's not be
Joey
doing that.
yeah, like I know Joey's interesting and pretty and, you know, you have a nice little back and forth sparring situation, but
You're at least in
she's
your early
18.
30s,
She's
she's
18.
18.
Yeah, her frontal,
And
you know, lobe is not fully developed yet. Yeah.
it really does make me very happy with my own mentality
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
just being like how any human being could get with anybody 5 years younger than them when they're in their 20s. I don't get it. Because,
Yeah.
you know, okay, I don't know where my mind's been confused by Professor Wilder, for God's
I mean,
sake.
this is
I
not
mean,
even
what's
a big
going on?
part of this episode. We're like
It's
veering
not.
off of topic.
Very much so. Very
We'll
much
talk
so. But
about
what
okay,
what I'm
we will
saying
we I'm like, we will
is that
revisit this when we talk about something wilder because
sure, but
we're
what I'm
veering off
saying,
track.
just to close out, what I'm saying is why Professor Wilder, the man at least in his early 30s, would remotely be interested in that way in somebody who is 18 is just absolutely nonsense to me. Because somebody in their if somebody in their mid-20s was interested in somebody who was 18, it would still be weird. Frankly, if somebody who had left university and was 22, 23 was into somebody who was 18, it would still be weird in my mind at that
Yes.
point.
Yes, which is now reminding me of a weird rom-com that people feel some type of way about that's based on a book that's coming out where a 20-something falls in love with her 70-something-year-old boss, played by Richard Gere.
What is Richard Gere? Nobody's seen Richard Gere in a movie for about 25 years, and now all of a sudden here he is in this. What's going on?
Yeah. Yes. So 70-something and 20-something and a boss employee dynamic, like,
I mean,
somebody wrote a book about this. Yeah.
this isn't
And then
Secretary with Maggie Gyllenhaal, is it? Are we into this sort of thing again? I mean,
yeah.
that's a different kind of movie,
Yeah,
isn't it?
definitely. Yes. So, yeah, that is coming. Something about this is coming potentially in the next
Oh
installment
dear.
of Discovering Dawson's Creek. So we'll get into it then. But just if you're
There
back
are other
here.
things that go on.
Yes. So we pretty much kind of Joey's her story was a little light since she kind of got a big focus
Yeah.
the episode prior. Um so yeah, we do see Pacey getting this invite to, work on this boat that he's worked on before, sail across the Greek Isles and
Very
yeah, a
nice.
really
A
fun
long journey.
opportunity for him. Yeah, but he's kind of established a nice little life here. Like, he has his friendships. I mean, we did talk a little bit about how and so this was really kind of nice when he ultimately does come to this decision because in the last episode we talked about them really kind of facing the music on the struggle to really keep their friendship going and keep their friendship
Yeah.
alive and how they want to do that but they don't want to force it. So the fact that, Pacey still feels good enough about his friend group and where they are that he kind of has this hesitation to not want to go. He's got a great job, promotion, like he's
Yeah.
given a lot of responsibility. His dad is saying he's proud of him. He's got this car. Like life is kind of lining up really well for him. So, um, yeah, a big kind of decision for him. And when he goes and tells Danny, Danny kind of, you know, is like, "Oh, I don't wanna lose you, but hey, do what you gotta do." And he feels kinda bad that Danny's not more, like, sad about it. So the fact that he
Yes.
wants Danny to feel some type of way about him leaving, it said kinda tells him everything he needs to know, um, really in that scenario. Um, and then again, just this bond that's seeming to grow with him and Audrey is, like, kind of, keeping him wanting to hang around as well.
There's a
So,
very
yeah,
intense scene between Pacey and Audrey as well, where you almost feel like it will turn romantic for a split second there, but
yeah,
it doesn't and stays, above board, as it were.
exactly.
Um,
Yes,
but I
and then
like
the
how
girl
I do like how Danny reacts to the situation, to be honest with you,
yeah,
and I do like how Pacey reacts to Danny's reaction of the
yeah,
situation. It does, as you say, speak volumes that
yeah,
Pacey wants Danny to be disappointed to hear this, but
yeah,
also, you know, Danny's he's a nice guy to Pacey. He's going to want the best for Pacey. Audrey tells him as much. He's
yeah,
He's proud of you, Pacey. I believe the pride of Danny in you
yeah,
more than I believe your father's pride in you, Pacey. Let's just say that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I really like his reaction and his sort of push off to Yeah, go and do it. This is what you want. This is really, really what you want. This
Yeah.
is what you've always wanted. So
Yeah.
absolutely go and do this.
Exactly. So all of that kind of just has Pacey deciding like he does end up kind of hooking up with the girl that we saw him with at the beginning, and it seems like it's a very
Yes.
casual kind of thing with them. And she almost kind of treats him with this cabana boy energies, like, she just likes this idea of, like, him coming into
Very
court
much
every
so.
so often and them kind of hooking up. And I feel like that makes him feel some type of way as well, like, feeling like he has to run
Yes.
away from something, that he doesn't have anything steady, that it seems like maybe he would want to, like, if he stays, there, he could be with her and, like, have a steady thing, but she clearly doesn't want that. So that kind of making him feel some type of way about, you know you know, the status of things. And, the fact that he did this, this reason he kind of started doing this in the first place was because he was running away. And now,
Mm.
things are good with him and Joey. Things are good with his friends. Things are good with work. Things are good, as they can be with family. So why run away from that? So ultimately, Audrey kind of comes to get him to like tell him goodbye. And she's like, come with me. And so she gets him to come out of the boat and they're all there, Joey and Jack and
Yes.
Dawson and Jen, and to say goodbye. And they get him a sextant. And he's like, oh, but I don't need it. And they're like, no, you take it. He's like, no, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here, be with my friends. And then, Audrey jokes, oh, yes, well, of course you can't leave because you're so in love with me, kind of thing. So yeah, Pacey chooses to
He
stay. I mean, did you
does.
think for a second that Pacey was gonna leave?
You know what I did? I really
Yeah.
did. I really did, and I would have liked it for him. I think like everybody else, I genuinely would have liked it for him. I also like this decision, obviously, because we need
Yeah.
Pacey in the show, and the show without Pacey is not the show.
Yes.
But it would have felt understandable for him to do it.
Mhm.
It would have felt like it come out of nowhere a little bit, but it would have
Yeah.
felt understandable. And maybe, we could put this down to Joshua Jackson having a couple of movies to film in 2002, and
Yeah,
needed
right.
to be off the show for a bit,
Yeah.
which I could have also believed. So, I was happy that he decides to stay, and
Yeah.
it's lovely to have this deep bond of group friendship. It's certainly the strongest bond totally we've seen from the entire cast.
Yeah.
I think yet in 4.5 seasons of the show,
Mhm.
which is wild. We've always had little offshoots and little pairings, and maybe
Yeah.
three people in a friend group triangle.
Yeah.
Um,
The odd
but
occasion of going to a dance or watching the movies in
yeah,
Dawson's room or
yeah,
something,
when
or a
everybody's there.
party. Yeah, yeah.
But this really feels like everybody's one group now.
Mhm.
And even with Audrey, who's steamrollered away into all this.
Yeah. I mean, Dawson or, Pacey even says, like, in the last episode, he's like, "How did we get through high school without her?" Like, this kind of signal that he would
Yeah.
have liked to have her around kinda thing. So, yeah, really great that he chooses to stay, but I like that they played it so that you felt like there was a chance that he could leave. So I like that it wasn't super obvious to you. I like that.
Yeah,
Then we do get a really interesting storyline with Jack and the frat house
we
and him
do.
being gay because, you
We do.
know, we talked a lot about when he was accepted in and just how easy peasy it was for him to just go into the house. It was a surprise to him how accepting they were and tolerant they were, and his being gay was not a problem for anybody. And then it is until when he gets an invite to actually move into the frat house. Um, Dawson's helping him move in and he's like excited. And he's like, yeah, I think it's time, you could take my room and I can, live with the frat guys and me and Jen, we've been doing this will and gracing for a little too long anyway.
Yes.
So then
Ha
they
ha
move him
ha.
in.
Make a joke about being a gay person.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Exactly. Um, and then the room is really nice, and he's like, "Oh, like,
Very nice.
is there some kind of lottery? Like, what did I do to win this?" He's like, "Oh, we draw names and, we want you here. So, yeah, enjoy
Ensuite
the room."
bathroom, nice
E
view.
Exactly, and it's like a room by himself, like his only room, and like he's the only one in the room. And then he sees some guys moving furniture, and he's like, it was the guy who ended up being kind of an asshole to Audrey. he was
Yes.
supposed to share a room with Jack, but he decided to move in with another guy down the way, like a new guy. So it's not even like he's moving in with like his frat equal, like in terms
Yeah.
of status. Like he's moving in with like a freshman, like, newbie kind of person. So Jack is like, oh, like you didn't want to share a room with me. And he's like, oh no, he's fine. There's, sharing rooms with somebody else. So Jack already is reading a weird vibe about the fact that like this guy is literally leaving this room, doesn't want to stay with Jack to share a room with like a lower ranked fraternity guy. So alarm bells are ringing for Jack when it comes to this. And he gets a little bit more information about the why and the who and the circumstances. And he's like, it's because I'm gay, isn't it? And like the head frat guy, he's like, no, like somebody just expressed like a little bit of, yes, no, it's like, no, we
not.
definitely want you here. We have no problem with you being gay, but somebody expressed some, hesitation to sharing a room with you. That's all. And he's like, who was it?
And why
Was it
would
such
that
and
be?
such
Let's ask
guy?
ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's please ask ourselves for 2 minutes why that would be.
Yes.
Why would you not want to share your room with the gay one of
the
the
one
frat?
gay guy?
The
Yeah,
one gay
and
guy. Because
yes.
I'll tell you why. Because you think sharing your room with the gay guy is either number one, going to turn you gay, or number two, the one gay guy is going to try and have gay sex with you, isn't he? That's what he's
Yes,
going to try
that's
and
how
do.
it works. That's how it works. Yes, exactly. So,
Yo, idiot
yeah,
people.
right? Exactly. So Jack tries to kind of like, get the name. It was what's his face, wasn't it? Like I don't remember that guy's name.
No.
And the kind of head frat guy is like, oh, he doesn't want to say. So Jack just kind of leaves it alone.
No.
So
It was.
yeah. So
Yes,
then
it
he goes
was.
into so then he goes into the room of the guy who he knows it is, and he says, um, he calls him out, and he's like, "How'd you
Yeah.
know it was
What's your
me?"
issue?
And he's like, "Oh, nobody told me. I figured it out." And he's like, "So what's your problem? Like, why? I thought you guys were all, welcoming of me. Like, why don't you want to share a room with me?" He's like, "Well, I just don't want people to think I'm gay." And he's like, "That's not how that works. And why would you have a problem with people thinking you're gay?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a little bit of a homophobe, man. I don't know." Like,
So yeah, that's not a good excuse. That's exactly what you're being
exactly.
called out for. You
Exactly.
can't just come
And
out with the
Jack
excuse of yeah, I'm actually a massive homophobe.
But
Sorry.
Jack shows him so much grace. He's like, if you wanna have a real
Too much.
conversation about this, if you really wanna sit down and have a real conversation about this, my door's always open. But if not, have a nice life. So Jack basically is like, I'm gonna avoid
Yeah,
you. If you don't wanna like have a real conversation about this and like your fears of this and let me dispel the weird things you think about this, then we don't have anything to say to each other. So I love how Jack handles this whole situation. Very
absolutely.
very mature from Jack, especially since the last time we saw him, he was being kind of an asshole and an immature
Yes, he
asshole
was.
at that.
Yes, he was.
Um, so to see
No,
him
I
really
agree
handle
with
the
you.
situation very maturely, like really love that from Jack. So Jack ends up
Absolutely.
dropping
The
Jack.
thing is,
Yeah,
though, with I find it hilarious. I really genuinely find it absolutely hilarious. I don't want people to think I'm gay because I'm hanging out with a gay
with a
person.
gay
Oh dear,
person.
we must not talk to the gay people, otherwise they might think I am gay. Oh dear, what a tragedy! What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Exactly, and I mean, this was a thing that was kind of happening at the time. Like, I listened to the Boy Meets World podcast,
I
and
mean, it still happens
and
now,
they
doesn't it? But you just
I mean
we these people need destroying.
yes, but it's like, I listen to the Boy Meets World podcast, and they do, like, recaps of episodes. They rewatching the show, and then they talk about the episode, and when some line comes back about, "Ooh," some line that kind of somebody has to say something about, "Oh, well, but I'm not gay," kind of energy that the line is
Right.
giving, they always call
I'm
out like,
wearing a
"Ooh."
man bag, but I'm not
Yes.
gay.
Like, yeah, but not like that obvious, but it's
Yeah, but no,
clearly something to do with
yes.
a straight character having to, like, say, preface something by saying, "Well, I'm not that way." And so every time that happens, which it happens quite a bit, they always have to be like, gay panic," and just, like, sigh about it.
That's what it sounds like. Yes.
Yes,
It's
'cause
very much what it sounds like.
it was around the same time, like, early 2000s, late 90s was when Boy Meets World, so, yeah, very much kind of same thing happening. So, yeah, I love the amount of grace that Jack shows this guy, and then Jack ultimately is like, "I don't think I should live here." He drops off the key as he walks out the door. He's like,
Yeah.
"If I'm not gonna be fully accepted here, I'm still be in the frat, it's fine, but I don't wanna be
Yeah.
around people who, clearly have this weird feeling around me or whatever, don't wanna understand me, so I'm outta here." So he drops off the key, he walks out the door, then the guy comes out and, like, has to try to spout some apology and, try to make it right, and
I mean,
yeah,
look, you can't be
yeah,
coming on your hands and knees now.
yeah.
This is what you thought might happen to you. You might be on your hands and knees, and then nobody would be having any fun, would they, sir?
Yeah.
That we don't know the name of. This is what you were
Yeah,
worried about, and
yeah,
now you're coming here on your hands and knees going, "Please, Jack, please, I'm sorry. Just come and
yeah,
stay. It's fine. I don't want to be thought of as this." So it's all about you, isn't it, sir?
yeah.
It's not about Jack at all. Jack, go back to Grams where you had
Yeah,
peace and love.
So Jack is like, "Let me think about it." So Jack needs some time to kinda decide whether he's gonna live there or not with this stupid guy who thinks, and we already saw this guy be an asshole to Audrey, so we're already like,
Why can't we get
this
rid of
guy.
him
Yeah,
instead?
right?
I've just bashed the microphone. I apologize for that. Why
Yes.
can't we get rid of him instead?
Exactly, yeah, not a great guy. So, Jack has a decision to make with that.
He
And
does.
then the last major thing in this episode, again, we leave to our new couple in Jen
Yes.
and Dawson, now living together at Graham's and immediately kind of already seeing a really kind of not so vibey morning. He's like,
Fighting
"Where's my."
over bathroom space.
Yeah, so, like, he's like, "Where's my toothbrush?" And she's like, "Oh, was it the one that was all, like, bent up and terrible looking?" He's like, "Yeah, oh, I thought it was a garbage brush, so I used it to separate my eyelashes." And he's like, "Oh, well, I'll just use your toothbrush." And she's like, "No." And he's like,
No,
"We've
don't
literally
do
been making out for, like, for months
yeah,
now." And she's
don't
like,
do that. Yeah,
"Yeah, but
don't do
no."
that.
Yeah.
I don't
So
I don't I am totally with Jen on this. I do not care if one is in a 45-year very intimate marriage with somebody. Do not share toothbrushes with that other person.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
grimy. It's nasty. There is nastiness on your teeth. This is why you must brush your teeth and clean your teeth and use mouthwash and do all the things that dentists tell you to do, even though we don't really do all those things that dentists tell us to do.
Okay, good
But
British person. The way to defy the stereotypes.
I've
By
got nice
promoting
teeth.
hygiene
Actually,
health.
I've got good teeth. My teeth are fine. Nothing wrong with my teeth. I'm not going
Yeah.
to give you a cheesy smile here and now. But yes,
But
glean.
yes. So, yeah, Dawson doesn't have a toothbrush, then he's go, like, looking through her makeup. "Why do you have so much makeup? I didn't see you as a makeup girl." And she's like, "It takes a lot of makeup to make
What
it
does it
look like
matter?
you don't wear
What
makeup."
what
Yeah.
does it matter? Just leave Jen's things over there.
Yeah.
Just leave them there. Here are
Yes.
your things. Have your things
Yes.
over here,
Yeah, yeah. So, why do you
and
have
it be
this
fine.
is a yeah,
You're
this is
rooting
an
through everybody's
expan
things. There's no
right?
need for it.
Yeah, there's an expansive collection of mouth of, floss here. And she's like, like, there's different uses for different kinds of floss. Like, stop." So she's getting irritated because he's very much like nitpicking and almost criticizing all her stuff. So we're getting a little bit of trouble in paradise kind of energy happening.
Yes.
And then, like, he's like, "Do you want to do something? Have dinner tonight?" She's like, "Oh, I got to go to the radio. I have stuff and,
Like,
I'm busy. I'm
no,
busy."
I don't
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So, yeah, she kind of is making like herself to be too busy for him. So then we see him sitting, talking, having a conversation with Grams, and he's like, "I can't, thank you enough for letting me stay here. I just want to know if there are any rules you want to implement on anything, like just let me know because I really do care about Jen and I don't want to like overstep anything." So I appreciate him asking, like, "Do you basically Grams, you mind if we're like get down under your roof?" And Grams is like, "As long as you're good to her, like I don't care about anything else." So I'm like, "Okay, Grams." She's like, "Oh yes, Jen has opened me up quite a bit." Like, and I love she's like,
Yes.
"There was for a long time, I was even afraid to say the word penis." And he's like, "Grams, I would be really happy if you never said that word again." And she's like, "Fair."
Yes.
just like
It's
can't do.
very humorous from Grams there.
Yes, and so she asks him, I think, about how his enrollment went into the school, like our film school, and he says, "Oh yeah, it didn't go quite well." Or I don't know if he talked to Jack about it. He talked to somebody about it, and he said that, like, he doesn't know if he quite fits in, like, they all are kind of artsy-fartsy and, like, French New Wave and, like, stuff like that kinda thing.
Well, of course they do. I mean, for goodness sake, they're 18 and they're in film school. They're going to absolutely go nuts for
Extra
Godard, aren't they?
piercings and yes, so he feels like, "I don't know, I signed up, but I don't know if I fit in there." So that's kind of the energy he's giving this new film school.
Sometimes I
So
feel like this is how you think I am as well. I'd like to
I mean,
can I just point this out here with my little
uh,
pointy finger? I'd
well,
just
just a
like to
little
really
bit.
because as soon as I start talking about any
I did I
little
say it
bit
was
of
a bad thing?
slightly more, sort of art artsy kind of movie off of the 60s
So
or whatever it
pretentious.
may be, you
Where's
start
your beret,
thinking,
Morgan?
yes, you start thinking
Where's
I
the
belong.
beret to go with that turtleneck?
Well, this is exactly what you start saying, isn't it? And you feel like I belong on the left bank of Paris,
Yes.
um, spouting beat poetry and waving a
Talking about
baguette
French
around,
yes, and talking about
talking
French New
about
Wave.
Godard
Yeah, exactly. So that's
and
what
how
Dawson is doing.
revolutionary Breathless was. We know it was. Shut up
Yeah,
banging on about it.
exactly. So, yeah, you probably would fit in perfectly at Dawson's, Boston Film School.
No, I wouldn't.
So
I don't. No, not one person mentioned anything to do with pre-code movies. Not one person mentioned anything to do with noir. Not
yeah.
one. This is the
You could be
problem.
friends with Oliver. He knew who AI Brooks was, who was a noir
He
director,
did. Yeah,
as we
looks
learned.
good. B noir director that he was.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Lovely
So
pulpy movies.
yeah. So we do hear Dawson kind of talk about, yeah, he enrolled, but he doesn't know that he fits in there. And so yeah, he's talking to Grams about Jen. She's very much on board, okay with the relationship. Fine to have him stay there. Nice, kind of fun little scene with him and Grams. Because yeah, all despite as much as we're at Grams, we have rarely seen Grams. So I like that she got a little scene. Also like
Yes,
that
we always
Gail got a nice little moment as well in the prior episode. So like that we're using our,
definitely.
actors. We're using them, these two episodes. So then he's like, "Oh, yeah, Jen is on the radio now." So we cut to Jen on the radio. We saw her kind of taking advice, like she messed up switching to one of the songs. So she's like, "Oh, well, you know what? I'll take a request. Call in." Somebody calls in and asks her for some relationship advice. So then when Dawson turns on the radio, he hears her giving advice, and the girl's talking about how she's dating some nice guy, and but it doesn't seem like it's going well, and so Jen tells her, "Oh, when you're with a guy like that, you just always have to prepare for the worst. Like they're gonna and inevitably like break your heart or leave you. So you just want to prepare for that." Uh, so she's basically kind of giving this girl the most kind of negative advice about dating a nice guy, which is kind of what Jen is doing. So Dawson really feeling some type of way hearing his girlfriend say all of these things about how terrible
Yes.
guys are and that, every guy is just gonna let you down and every guy is just gonna disappoint you and every guy is this and every guy is that and this kind of rhetoric. So,
Well, we do
um
wonder if they're talking about the stereotype of the nice guy here as well, because of course the stereotype of the
yeah,
nice it's not. It doesn't seem quite that because that stereotype is somebody that insists they are nice, but is in fact absolutely horribly manipulative and full of
yes.
gaslighting
I
tactics.
mean, think of Bear in the recent Obsession.
Bear is
Kind of
exactly
terrible.
is a
Yeah.
great example of the nice guy.
Yeah, yes. So Jen really kind of leaning into that type of rhetoric in her advice, and Dawson kind of hearing this like, ugh. And Graham's kind of trying to, coming with
Oh,
interference, like,
Jennifer's
"Oh,"
very good
Jen
on
just
her
like,
show, isn't
yeah,
she?
she likes, she probably doesn't mean those things, she just likes to shake things up and, like, so I'm like, "Oh, Graham's trying to help
Always,
out her
always
girl." Yeah.
shaking things up, always
Yes.
just doing it
Always
for the
trying to
bit.
yes, always trying to mess with the status quo and, like, yeah, so Graham's trying to, run interference for her granddaughter while also trying to, like, make Dawson feel better. So, like, we love you, Grams, for trying. The effort was there. So Dawson sat outside waiting for her to come back, and she comes home and she's like, "Oh, yeah, you heard the show, didn't you?"
Yeah, it's
And
like,
he's like,
"Get it,
"Yeah,
come on
I did
then,
hear
out
it."
with it," is
Yeah, and she's
basically what
like,
he says.
yes, and she does say that, like, they loved the producers liked what she did, that they wanna, like, have her do this advice show. And he's very and, like, his response is, "Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you." And she's like, "Okay, we'll spit it out." And he's like, "What?" "Tell me all the things you've been stewing to wait to say to me all day after what you heard." And he's like, "Jen, I'm not gonna fight with you." He's like, "I'm literally sitting out here because I was gonna go to a movie and I wanted to see if you wanted to come with me." And she's like, "That can't be it. Like, you have to, you're probably so pissed at me. So just say what you need to say." And, just, already ready for Dawson to kind of leave her over this. And
Yeah,
he has the complete opposite reaction of what she expects. And he says,
and
um,
how
uh,
delighted are we that that is the
is
reaction?
his
I mean, this
response.
is impeccable from Dawson.
Yes. Yes, and he's very much like those men when they hear, he's not the type of man, and I think Dawson used to be the type of man who you would
Definitely.
hear in the camp of not all men. But here,
100%.
when a woman is talking about how terrible men are, Dawson knows, well, I'm not one of those guys, so she's not talking about me.
And so he doesn't have
And
to actually say it, does he? He doesn't have to
exactly.
actually come out with it.
Yeah, yes. Well, I mean, he
Like
has to tell her
in this
he
oh,
has to remind her of that because she is very much in this block of, like, Dawson's ready to leave me now because of what I said, because any guy that I've been with has been like that, but Dawson knows her, so he's like, "I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna cheat on you, I'm not gonna fight with you, like, I'm not doing any of this because that's not me, and I care
I'm
about
literally
you."
going to a movie
I
now. Please come if you want. If you don't want, I'm going to go anyway, and I'll see you later.
When I'm yeah, yes, "I'll see you when I'm home because I am coming home. I'm I'm not
Yeah,
going anywhere." And, like, she just her eyes turn into just, like, Puss in Boots, like, "Ooh," like
they do.
yeah, like,
And this is
not
what
expecting that response at all. Yeah.
Michelle Williams would do very well to
Yeah.
awards success in her
Yes,
career
many
would
nominations. I
be
think she has, what,
so
4 or 5 Oscar nominations, like,
yes.
girl. Yeah.
I mean, eyes like that of just this soft
Yeah.
emotion that comes from Michelle Williams. There's very rarely volatility to Michelle Williams. There can
Mhm.
be volatility
Yeah.
to a Michelle Williams performance, but when she is at her best is in that sort of soft crying style of really miserable emotion, I
Yes.
suppose, isn't it? It's where
Yes.
she's had her the most award success, I suppose.
Yes. But, like, here is another situation, like, we've seen Jen kind of misread situations and then kind of have to, like, really, like, have this admit that she was wrong, like, all over her face. Um,
Yes. Well, she's
and
doing that.
so yes, she's, like, very much expecting Dawson to react one way, and when he doesn't, it's because she kind of forgets. Dawson knows me. Dawson knows what I've been
Yeah.
through. Dawson knows what I need. Dawson cares about what I need. So, why am I expecting him to be like every other man? Why? And he's like, and he says it like, "You don't need to test me." Like,
Yeah.
you really don't. And the fact that he knows exactly what she's doing, he immediately refutes it. He doesn't play into it. Like, all of this is, like, gotta be, like, singing, like, to her so strongly, like, "What was I thinking?" So, I love how
Yeah.
the scene plays out. I love that Dawson, plays into the history of their relationship, the history of the show, the history of Jen in all these really beautiful ways. Like, this second round of their relationship is just playing into this really cool nostalgia of, keeping intact, what we knew about these characters and really emphasizing the change in them. And the struggle that Jen has to really kind of change and believe the change in her, believe the change in men, that men can be that way, being with somebody like Dawson. So yeah, I love how the scene plays out. I love, it makes me really love this relationship. So yeah.
Yeah. It's great. It's a great couple
Mhm.
of episodes, really. That's
Yeah.
as I said at the beginning, from a sort of low key emotional
Mhm.
standpoint. There's plenty to sink our teeth into
Yeah.
in today's episodes, and we're over halfway into season 5 now, and I do wonder where the season's going to end up. Um, because I've gotten used to a build and a
Yeah.
structure to the seasons of Dawson's Creek, and I'm not quite sure if that similar sort of structure does carry on to the college years, because it does obviously feel like such a different show.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm beginning to speculate on a
Okay.
few things. Not anything that I
Mhm.
would like to say at the moment, because it
Okay.
might just be
Premature.
nonsensical
Yeah. Okay.
and very, very premature. But
Okay.
I'm excited, as you,
Okay.
as we all assumed I would be,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yay.
But there we
Yay.
go. I think
All right.
for this week's Discovering Dawson's Creek, obviously, here we
Yeah.
are every other Monday, alternating on our TV based shows here on It's a Wonderful Podcast. We're diving into Doctor Who at the moment. Good chunk of the way into series 3 over there as well now at the moment, getting into some very juicy stuff on Doctor Who as
Yeah.
well. That is equally as exciting as this. Of course, Morgan hasn't seen Is There every Wednesday in the Tom Cruise series for July,
Mhm.
and the main show every Friday celebrating old movies, Doomsday movies over there for this month as well. Do subscribe wherever you are listening to today's episode, whether that be Spotify, where you can leave your comments, of course. Rate and review and like and share on Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music or any such other big podcast platform you may be on. Of course, if you are watching today's episode of Discovering Dawson's Creek, do subscribe and ding your notification bell on the It's Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel as well. And if you would like to support us on Patreon or donate in any way, do find the links to do that in the description of today's episode, or just find us on and across all the social medias on the app formerly known as Twitter, and on Blue Sky at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Purple Dawn with 3 instead of the E in the, because Jeannine.
3 is a magic number.
On Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at the Purple Dawn. All your nice, wholesome friendship moments are where?
You can find me at Jeannine _ on Twitter, Jeannine on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search G9 Design on tpublic.com.
Well, there we go. A nice little Dawson's Creek based impression, I think, to close out the show in honour of everybody's favourite grandmother. Please.
Oh my god. 3, 2, 1.
Bye.